display a variety of behaviors. As I said, some can be socialized, but a lot of them are feral or avoidant. You can tell they're feral because they will hide from people. They might only come out at night. They won't purr. They'll keep their ears down and their tail down. No, they're generally very suspicious. So you can't see, but this is a fluffy cat playing a piano. I believe it's featured in Fancy Feast commercials. And this is a cat looking through garbage, so you can guess which one is which. So community cats have a lot of names, and if anyone has any new ones, I love to hear them because I always get a new word wherever I travel. But I heard community, feral, stray, wild, alley, outdoor, barn, neighborhood, and tomcat. Those are all the terms we've collected for feral cat. It depends on what region of the country you're in. And community cats live outdoors. They tend to avoid humans and they're unadoptable. Most of them. Community cats are healthy. This is really surprising to people. Really surprising. Sometimes I've had people say I was lying. So I'm happy to give you the study if you're interested in reading more. But many studies have been performed on the health of feral cats, and they're just as healthy. I know it doesn't make sense, but equal or lower incidence of infection as pet cats are found in feral cats. So this study looked at 9 different infections, including FELV, FIV, the coronavirus, and they found that the feral cats either had equal or lower prevalence of disease. And if you think a little bit about it, it does make more sense when you realize the feral cats who are outdoors, they're the hardier cats, right? So we can keep our pet cats alive. I know my cats have very expensive veterinary routines and get their teeth cleaned and all that. So they're living the plush life. A feral cat has to be pretty healthy already to be able to survive.
What about rabies? That's what I have a lot of people say to me when I'm talking about TNR. They say, well, what about rabies? Aren't they rabies spreaders, you know?
Sure, they're not, and I'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
This is another study done. They looked at over 100,000 feral cats at 7 different TNR programs across the country, and they found extremely low incidence of debilitating diseases. So less than 0.5%. So 99.5% of cats were healthy, and that's equal to what you find if you did an assessment of owned cats coming in. And basically, my motto is if you're fat enough to spay, you're fat enough to stay. And that just means that, if they can go through spay-neuter, that means the veterinarian has deemed them healthy. So rabies, that's a great point, and that's probably maybe the number 2 question I get, especially as an attorney. So overwhelmingly, it's a disease affecting wildlife. You can go to the CDC website and read more about rabies there. Over 92% of cases are from raccoons, possums, skunks, that sort of animal. Of course, the TNR program includes a rabies vaccination. If it doesn't, it's not real TNR. It has to include a rabies vaccination. And then I want to make 2 points about, because people are going to say, well, how long does it last, right? So Dr. Julian Levy, who's a veterinarian out of University of Florida, is probably the premier feral cat veterinarian in the country. And she's done many, many studies. And she's found that even a single dose of rabies vaccination provides years of protection. So some of you are probably getting duped at your veterinarian because those vaccinations marked 1 year are identical to the ones marked 3 year. They're chemically the same. It's just, veterinarians want their customers to come in every year. I still go in every year because I think it's good for the cat to be checked out, but that's just something to think about. Studies have found that at least it lasts up to 7 or 8 years in dogs. No one's done a longer term study. Hopefully one day we'll just say it lasts the entire lifespan. I haven't found that yet.
So when you're losing sleep because your cat's a month overdue, you don't really need to do that.
The killing or trapping and euthanizing, which is what most animal control agencies have been doing, hasn't worked, right? We've got lots of cats. Anyone doing cat rescue knows that we've got a big problem in this country. So if the choice is between an unvaccinated cat or a cat that's been vaccinated once, I say let's invest in the cat that's been vaccinated once. Because first of all, they're not breeding, producing kittens that definitely won't be vaccinated, and the colony is intact. It's holding the territory from cats who aren't vaccinated. So if people say, well, if somebody doesn't come back to, give them a rabies vaccination, everyone's going to get rabies. No. First, again, it's mostly from wildlife. Second of all, if we continue to do trapping and euthanizing, we'll get to this, we'll get to the vacuum effect, but you'll see you're just going to have new crops of cats who are unvaccinated. So we don't have a choice between cats and no cats. We have a choice between neutered vaccinated cats and unneutered unvaccinated cats. Though I hope in 10 years that won't be the case, and TNR will just have reduced the population and nobody will be dumping cats anymore, and it'll be wonderful.
One thing though by law is we have to wait, and it's our rabies law, I mean, that we have to go by, says they have to either have a shot each year or one every 3 years. And that's not something we can change ordinance.
But many places in, ordinance or state law?
State law.
Yeah, the state law, they've decided that does not apply to feral cats because DeKalb County, Brunswick, Georgia, they all, because it has to do with how owner is defined. So,
It's defined by domestic, and you said that it's still a domestic animal, right?
well, I'm not barred in Georgia, but I can't imagine that many counties would be funding TNR and passing laws if it violated the state law. Also, the Attorney General would probably come after them. So I don't think the Georgia state law is an issue.
Well, I mean, if somebody wants to read, anybody can read it if they want. It's the Georgia rabies manual that we have to go by. They've got to be vaccinated every year, they got that every year.
What I'm saying is that it's been interpreted that people have not interpreted it the way you're interpreting it, because attorneys in other Georgia jurisdictions still have TNR programs that are government mandated. So,
But wait, are you talking Athens Park? And what other one?
Brunswick, Georgia has one. DeKalb County.
Cobb has TNR?
Yeah.
And I do know some of those require revaccination again. It requires heart rabies vaccination certificate from a veterinarian for those animals.
That might be the case in some of
In
them.
the law, they do require revaccination of the animals.
Not in all of them. I know.
They're the ones that they were talking about require revaccination.
I'm afraid not. That's not how it is, and I'm going to mix them up, either DeKalb County or Athens Park, which is funded by a very generous grant from the Best Friends Animal Society, does not require revaccination, so those cats, obviously if there's a caregiver who can trap and revaccinate, that's encouraged, but it's not a mandatory part of it. But I'm gonna mix up my county.
DeKalb.
It's just for ferals.
Yeah.
Owned cats have to be vaccinated.
So
DeKalb.
who's responsible takes their animals to the vet every year because they penalize them because they're not trying to get these reports
What do you mean?
by having to go and get the revaccination. If they don't get it, they get a citation. The person turns cat loose in the woods doesn't have to do that. Do that.
If you turn a cat loose, that violates the law. That would violate the
In the
abandonment law.
law that you guys are trying to have written in, it states that community cats are exempt from this and not considered abandoned.
It's not considered abandonment if you release a cat. If you're